I'm Jack, work on the SEN Green Team. I've been working with the SEN Green Team for about 2.5 years now. And my sort of experience with autism started when I was a TA in a school in Clapham. I'd never really done any kind of work one-to-one with autism before, but I was suddenly working with a child who had autism. And it was a real new experience for me, even though I'd had a teaching degree and had some exposure to SEN. It was a real new experience for me to work with a kid one-to-one with ASD, because it meant I completely had to flip my understanding and try and understand firstly what this child needed, but without any kind of previous experience. So it was quite a nice challenge, to be honest. And he was a great kid. So the one thing that I sort of learned really was that I quite quickly had to adapt my way of understanding and my way of thinking, and also many of my practices to really fully engage with students with autism. For example, when I was teaching or when I was training to teach, it was very much just a case of, here's the curriculum, now you've got to find a creative way of teaching it. Whereas actually that won't work with a lot of people with autism, because they can't just readily engage with your experiences, they can't readily engage with what it is that you're giving them or what you're presenting. You firstly have to go and understand, what is it that makes these people tick, what is it that makes this person, this student, this child tick, and then you've got to sort of create something and design a curriculum based on that sort of thing. And it becomes really individualistic, which is great. The child that I worked with, for instance, was in a mainstream school, but I was his one-to-one sort of TA, helper. And he, at the time that I started working with him, was just really into Ben 10. I've never really gotten into Ben 10 myself because I was a 23-year-old male. But he was really into Ben 10, and I had to sort of use the teacher's plans and sort of lesson ideas and somehow incorporate Ben 10 into these lessons to sort of help him engage with the learning. Otherwise he was totally, I suppose, disengaged, or wasn't able to access it just as readily. So Ben 10 suddenly found its way to pretty much every lesson that we taught for about a year. I was sick of Ben 10 by the end of year 3. Yeah. Certainly for my practices, I've been able to I've had to dive a lot deeper into my kind of knowledge and my understanding of how children work and how they cognitively work, to sort of help them as individual learners actually access what it is that we're trying to achieve. For instance, rather than having the curriculum, planning lessons, and then delivering the lesson, it's actually what makes this person tick, what makes this student tick, what is it that's going to engage them, then you plan the lesson, and that's when they achieve what it is that you want them to achieve. So you flip it on its head, basically. Definitely be flexible with your expectations. Almost in a weird way, don't have expectations, almost sort of set your expectations low, because then anything is possible. And actually what you end up having with these students, with ASD students, is a beautiful relationship where, like I say, anything can happen and you can get the bizarre and the beautiful out of absolutely anything. Expect the unexpected, and just be really, like I say, flexible, be willing to sort of engage with pretty much anything that they want to engage in, because that's how they will develop. And people with ASD are extremely independent in the way they think, in the way they engage. And actually, if you try and interact too much with that and try and change too much, that can be detrimental to what it is that you're trying to achieve. So if you're trying to have independence with the student or whatever, it actually doesn't make sense for you to try and have too much of an input. Let them do things, let them crack on with guidance, because otherwise they will switch off completely and really not want to engage with you as a helper, and then back to square one. The best thing about working with SEN, with ASD, is the completely unique relationships that you build up. Completely unique. No one relationship, obviously every relationship has similarities and differences, but when you're working with students with SEN and with ASD, you have to go so much deeper in order for them to feel comfortable with you, and in order for them to really engage with you and interact with you. So your relationship becomes completely unique and super deep, which is amazing when you think about how many children you actually impact on working with.